We've talked about White Rabbit, a traditionally attractive woman rabbit villain of Batman inspired by Alice in Wonderland, who sounds like a very specific genre of villain. There can't possibly be anyone else who falls into that category. But there is. Meet March Harriet, or March Hare. We'll explain the name change as the video goes on. More commonly called March Harriet, unlike White Rabbit, is actually connected to the Mad Hatter. March Harriet hopped so White Rabbit could bounce. That sounds dirtier than I meant it. I meant it because they're both bunny rabbits. Her first name was March Hare, a direct reference to the character of the same name from Alice in Wonderland. Her first appearance and only appearance pre-New 52 is Detective Comics issue 841 from 2008. This issue being the return of Mad Hatter with a brand new Wonderland gang by his side. The issue starts with the Wonderland gang led by Mad Hatter breaking into a fashion show that Bruce Wayne is attending. Among the members is Mad Hatter, of course, along with Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And new member March Hare in a brown bunny costume. There's also a few other members introduced later in the issue, most notably being the Carpenter, who's a more known Mad Hatter character. March Hare helps rob the place, taking a woman's purse at gunpoint. Her role is extremely small. The most notable thing about the character here is that her name is Harriet Pratt, a former grifter and escort who was enlisted by the Mad Hatter into his Wonderland gang. I actually missed her in the final fight on my first read. The final showdown happens in a maze of mirrors, where the fight focuses more on the unicorn and the lion facing Batman, but you do briefly see March Hare try to take a gun out on him. My first read, I actually missed it and thought of the person that Batman hit with the couch was the Carpenter. The bunny ears should have given it away, but the moment was so quick. Also, March Hare wasn't in the fight earlier, she just shows up halfway through it to get knocked out. This was her only appearance for years, and only appearance before Flashpoint. She would also actually skip the New 52. Her next appearances wouldn't even be in main canon. Instead, in 2013, she'd appear in two different places outside of main continuity. She appears in Little Gotham stories. She doesn't really do anything, but she's a part of the Wonderland gang, which I think her inclusion likely helped to remind readers her character existed, albeit only one issue beforehand. She'd also appear in the Arkham tie-in comics in 2013, connected to the Arkham games. She's a henchwoman to the Mad Hatter. She does a little more than before, being prominent in a fight against Batman, but as essentially everyone that fights Batman, she's taken out. In both of these appearances, she's referred to as March Hare. As to where the name change to March Harriet came from, the first place I could find to use the name Harriet instead of Hare is a surprising source. The Lego Batman movie from early 2017, with their name being March Harriet in marketing from the start of 2016. I couldn't find an earlier instance of Harriet being the name, so perhaps I'm wrong and just couldn't find it? However, this is definitely the time period the character's name was changed to Harriet. I'm 90% sure this was her first appearance as March Harriet. What's funny about her even being in this movie is that Mad Hatter isn't, which I guess implies that she went solo in this world? Well, I'm not too sure if this name change was even intentional, however I think if it was a mistake, it likely came from the character's real name being Harriet Pratt, and that someone likely confused her real name and supervillain name, morphing her names into one as March Harriet. She'd make a return to comics in Harley Quinn issue 22 from late 2017, with the name of March Harriet being now her comic book name too. She's in the backup story where Harley's having tea with her and the Carpenter, in a Gotham underground location, which is soon attacked by the GCPD. It's a very brief return for March Harriet. She's also shown now to have electric ears in this appearance, which I guess is kind of a cool power upgrade. Her biggest contribution to the comics would be in Batgirl issue 25 from 2018, where a backup story called March Madness would give her origin. This being her telling Batgirl who came to find her. This is because March Harriet is starting her own gang. Kinda. It's the underbranch of the Wonderland gang. So she's still taking orders from the Mad Hatter, but she has more rank now, and apparently more respect from the Mad Hatter than, say, Harley Quinn did from the Joker. She also now has mind-controlling ears like the Mad Hatter's hat. I'm not entirely sure if her ears are still electric or not, but we do see sparks flying off of them when she uses them, so they might still be electric. Harriet Pratt is from East London, where she'd meet her girlfriend Lily Shaw. After becoming adults, they moved to the States, low on money, they would turn to stealing. But still struggling to make ends meet, they would join an escort service at a club. They would discover their boss had technology able to control people's minds, which they plotted to steal. However, during this, they weren't the only thieves. The Mad Hatter wanted it too. During all of this, security appeared, shooting both Harriet and Lily, with Lily dying and Harriet being saved by the Mad Hatter, leading to her undying loyalty to Jarvis Tetch, becoming March Harriet and getting revenge on her former employer. Batgirl has genuine sympathy for March Harriet, but she's still hurting and killing people, so she still takes her down, even if Barbara now understands her a bit more than before, as do us as the readers. Since then, March Harriet has appeared here and there, typically in small cameos or just a part of the Wonderland gang. The Harley Quinn 30th anniversary issue also acknowledges the fact that Batman has two bunny baddies by having March Harriet and White Rabbit appear together. She also appeared in the 2020 DCAU Return to Comics, Batman the Adventure Continues, once again as a member of the Wonderland gang. There's this moment that stands out to me, that being that after she's defeated, her ears are bandaged, implying that they're actually real, or it could just be for a funny visual, which, if that's the case, I approve. However, for the actual canon reason as to why they're bandaged up, is it implying that in this universe, she actually has bunny ears? March Harriet, or March Hare, is very much a background support, but I do think that she could do more. I like that they expanded upon her history and rebirth. She definitely feels like she's a little more fleshed out than just a background extra, but at the same time, she was renamed by accident, which that typically doesn't happen to mainstream characters. I don't think she has huge outstanding potential, but maybe a little more than what she's been given. However, I actually don't know what that more could be. Maybe she goes solo to fight Batman, however at the same time, I don't think anyone wants to see that. It is nice to have reoccurring hinged characters. It just makes the world feel more fleshed out when there's a character who pops up in the background occasionally that you know of. Truthfully, I feel like this position as Mad Hatter's version of Harley Quinn essentially is probably where the character should stay. I wouldn't be upset if the character decides to go solo, but I think you could give the character a little more, but still keep her as being Mad Hatter's henchwoman. Especially because the Carpenter already kind of did that. And in my personal opinion, the Carpenter is a much more interesting character than March Harriet, although March Harriet is likely the more recognizable between the two. And that's it. Like always, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!